everybody. It is 10 o'clock, and so I appreciate you all for joining us today. I am excited that we had such a great turnout for today's presentation. My name is Luke Allen. I am the Northeast Illinois Agriculture Education Program Advisor for the FCAE project, Facilitating Coordination in Ag Education. And I would like to introduce our panelists today. We're going to be talking about resources available to schools to start teaching about food, agriculture, and natural resources. And our panelists today are State Representative Harper from the Illinois 6th District, and she is also the chair of the House Agriculture Committee. We have Greg Webb, the Vice President of State Relations from ADM. We have Dean Kidwell, from the College of Agriculture, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences at the University of Illinois. Mr. Andrew Klein is the Agriculture Education Consultant at the Illinois State Board of Education. And we have our Illinois FFA officers joining us today who have taken a year off of college to serve their peer students in agriculture. So I would like to introduce State Representative Harper to share some thoughts and insights with her perspective as not only a state representative, but the chair of the House Agriculture Committee. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Luke, and thank you everyone for joining us. A special thank you to the partners for helping to put on this event today. Greg Webb from ADM, Dean Dittmar, as well as you, Luke, for helping to bring this together today. We've been talking about this for a very long time, right? About ways that we can help to expand and promote ag education opportunities across the state for every single student. And so as the chairwoman of the Agriculture Committee in the House, I am charged with protecting our food supply, with promoting the business of agriculture, of course, growing urban agriculture, and now making sure students all across the state have access to our ag education programs. And so I just briefly want to say, what brought me to the world of agriculture is living in a community that has really no access to healthy food. And neighbors in my community saw agriculture and urban agriculture as a way to not only bring in healthy food, but to also bring in jobs to our community. And so that's kind of what we want to focus on today. All of the wonderful career opportunities, business opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities that are available in the agriculture industry, and how we should be creating a pipeline of our students to go into these industries. And so again, I want to thank you to the educators, the school administrators, and everyone who is on the call today to learn more about our ag education programs here in the state of Illinois. So please stay tuned to us. We hope to have more workshops in the future and more ways to engage all students across the state in agriculture education initiative. So again, thank you to everyone, and I'm looking forward to our workshop today. Back to you, Luke.
I'm hosting, and I'm having a hard time keeping all the windows separated to get back to the mute. So thank you so much, Representative Harper. Just in sharing that information, 40% of the of jobs that are available in the industry of agriculture have no graduates to fill them. So employment opportunities are expected to continue to grow. And so to discuss information about employability and the types of jobs and opportunities available for students is our next presenter, Greg Webb, the Vice President of State Relations with Archer Daniels Midland.
Luke, thank you very much for the opportunity, and Representative Harper, Chairwoman Harper, thank you very much again for facilitating this event, because with your interest as the Chairwoman of the House Agriculture Committee, because this is a really important subject for our state. We, as Luke's slide demonstrates here, this is not just a one-trick pony. We have had chronic shortages of attracting young men and women to the industry of agriculture for a number of years. And so just for a quick background, the Archer Daniels Midland Company is a Fortune 50 company that is part of the supply chain from the crops that farmers grow to creating ingredients and products in our food, feed, fuel, and sustainable materials businesses. So it's a wide net that the industry of agriculture casts. And I know for many people, they think about agriculture purely at the production side of this. When you drive across the state of Illinois, we have these very pastoral scenes of either sheep or hogs or cattle in the field, or we watch soybeans and corn and wheat grown in many corners of the state. But the industry that's where it begins. But it's much, much, much more than meets the eye there. And so for a company like ourselves, I think we talk about having nearly 300 different kinds of careers in even our company. So what we want to pick your interest about is that young men and women lack the visibility of the industry of agriculture. Today, we're educating less than 10% of our Illinois students for an industry that provides 22 to 23% of the jobs within the state. So you see that we have a mismatch there. And ideally, for a company like ourselves, we would love to have young men and women who have an exposure to the industry of agriculture. I often think that those of us who benefited from growing up in that environment, we see it and we feel it. But when you think about the industry of agriculture, farmers are stewards of the land. Wouldn't it be great if we had a visibility for our kids to gain an appreciation about what that really means, for them to help be stewards of that land as well? I think about young people who have attributes and pursuits in the sciences. Agriculture is full of science-based kinds of opportunities. As a matter of fact, in our company, a lot of times for our plants, we have to pull over chemical engineers into our company who may have not even had a thought about coming into an agricultural landscape, but we haven't done enough at their nurturing level to even give a visibility to this industry of agriculture. So as I think about, proponents for climate, for instance, which is a top of mind subject for a lot of our young people, it's an opportunity for them to understand the industry of agriculture as we talk about the climate, because agriculture does use 70% of the water resources to produce the foods that we consume. So if we had a better opportunity and an occasion to help educate these young people about what is this industry of agriculture, how do I identify it, and what are some of the exciting roles that I can be a part of that? Our jobs range from those who could come right out of high school. We are in perpetual needs of people with trade skills, like welders, like folks who work with steel and metal, as well as we have lots of demands for truck drivers and other kinds of plant operations that require attention to detail, but may not require a 4-year or even sometimes a 2-year certification process. So the range of jobs for us is immense. And again, this chronic shortage of attracting people into our industry is one that is of a concern. And I think importantly, not only have we been chronically short in the last many years, but as the slide that Luke put up, we expect this industry to have perpetual growth in the mid single digit range. And so when you think about what the demands on our employment are going to be, it's an incumbent upon us that we bring a much higher visibility about what this prospect of this agriculture industry looks like. And importantly, as we think about what our career choices, having that as one we consider. So Luke, that's what I wanted to help share this morning, and we'll throw that back to you.
Thank you for your insights, Greg. we know, or many people may be surprised to learn that Illinois is a leader in food manufacturing. More food is manufactured in the Chicago area than anywhere else in the world. And there are so many opportunities for local food systems as well as international food systems careers. So we appreciate your insight into that. Next, I'd like to introduce Dean Kim Kidwell from the College of Agriculture, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences at the University of Illinois.
Thank you so much, Luke. Greg, you stole our tagline, which I really love, more than meets the eye. That's how we actually frame and advertise what we do in the College of ACES. And, I'm actually really excited. My heart started to beat a little faster as you talked, Greg, and Representative Harper, because to me, this is a really amazing moment for us to really exemplify, and I'm going to say this with an open heart, what a sexy science agriculture really is, right? I think we do amazing things that people just don't know about, and part of our mission is to make sure that people are aware of the invitation they have to do good things that matter to people. Folks in the ag are the people. We aspire to make a difference in the world and in our communities, and we do it actually through the most obvious commodity that impacts almost all of us every day if we're lucky. That's a food experience. So that's the ultimate product from agriculture that impacts everybody's lives. And I would say that, in my career, there's been a few moments where people have been more food aware than they are right now. The pandemic created some obvious opportunities for us to take a look at some of the vulnerability in our food system. And food system resilience is a hot topic that we talk about every day on campus. And it's opening up really interesting new portals to job opportunities and actually creating visibility in jobs and career pathways that we've been involved with for decades in agriculture. So when people ask me, what is ag? I say, it's a STEM discipline that's highly relevant in the context in that our most obvious product is food. I look at agriculture from kind of the seed to soul perspective. Greg captured this very well. Also, people talk a lot about production from what you see growing in a field or what you see in a livestock pen. Actually, what we do encompasses the entire gambit from production to processing to the impact of consumption of food on health and well-being. One of the biggest expanding areas that we actually have in our college is in personalized nutrition around the microbiome. When we talk about the depth of the science that you can experience in agriculture, people are kind of shocked. I mean, it is a highly embracing STEM discipline. And I'm going to tell you a few of the things that we do that may surprise you. So plant and animal production, people get. They deem those as being ag-related. But food processing, personalized nutrition, environmental safety and sustainability, even clean water is in the ag spectrum. Economics and policy development, mechanical and biological engineering, communication, education, family health and well-being, innovation and entrepreneurialism. These are things that we actually embody every day and what we teach our students and the deliverables that we actually create. We're discovery-based, and the goal is to apply those discoveries in a way that make a difference to people in their everyday lives and communities and industries. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the more cutting-edge things that we're doing that people might not be aware of. Data analytics drives ag these days. There isn't a farm implementation piece out there that doesn't have high-tech computer technology in it. We've just developed a couple majors that actually are interdisciplinary that encompass the computer science aspects, the data analytics aspects, the big data aspects of production and industry in a computer science plus crop science major. We also have a computer science plus animal science major. And we just developed a new major called Metropolitan Food and Environmental Systems that really is designed to bring people into agriculture that have no experience at all or awareness of where their food comes from an environmental policy and urban food production grow local perspective, which we've really never highlighted and featured before. We do robotics, we do biology, we do bioengineering, we do genetics, we do biotechnology. We do a lot of things that people don't actually necessarily assume are in a College of Agriculture, but it is the essence of what we do and what we've always done to make a difference in the food system in the world. So I agree with Greg too, in that there's an outrageously wide array of disciplines that are needed across the industry. From mechanics to hospitality personnel to field personnel to people that are actually running research projects or developing new technology as engineers. What I'll say is you can enter the field with a high school diploma, with a AA degree from a community college, with a bachelor's degree from a university, with a grad degree, a master's degree, or a PhD. The difference tend to be where you actually end up on the supervisory level there, right? So some people are running research labs and actually supervising a lot of people that are involved in the research, and some people are actually doing much more of the applied work. But the portals of entry are highly, highly diverse. So what I'll say, I'll end this with saying that agriculture is an amazing pathway for having a vibrant career yourself and for doing good things in the world. And I'm really excited that we have people that are championing this cause. This is like I'm living the dream. So thanks so much for your time. And I'm going to pass it back to Luke.
Thank you so much, Dean Kidwell. I think of my friend who was an agriculture engineering major and wanted to improve hydroponic growing systems for microgreens. And he is now an entrepreneur growing microgreens, but his vision, his entrepreneurial effort is to improve the production system. So, you know, the selling of the microgreens is how he pays to do his research and R&D. So it's and I know you've done a lot with plant breeding, improving wheat, one of the most common food staples in the world. So thank you for sharing your experience. So you talked about the application of STEM in careers in agriculture. And I can tell you that statewide, 80% of the school districts who teach agriculture teach those classes that the school recognizes to satisfy graduation requirements. So the school recognizes that agriculture classes can fulfill science electives or consumers education electives, and sometimes even math and language arts electives. So I have schools that have fine arts credits in horticulture and landscape design and floral design. So to share with us information from the State Board of Education, next I'd like to introduce Mr. Andrew Klein, the Principal Consultant for Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources, to share some insights into the opportunities that the State Board has and his experiences in agriculture and agriculture education.
Thank you, Luke. Yes, well, good morning. To give some background on myself, before I worked for the State Board of Education, I actually taught urban agriculture in high school in Decatur, Illinois, so at MacArthur High School. And I guess I'm going to draw on those experiences more almost than my experiences at ISB so far, because this is a relatively new position for me, but I think it puts me in a unique situation to address some of the questions that have even been brought up so far. So first thing I'd like to talk about is in an urban program, I think there's often a misconception that agriculture, food, and natural resources are not going to apply to the futures of those students. And I can completely 100% say that is totally a misnomer. There's also this false perception that urban students are not going to be drawn to agricultural education, nor are they going to be interested in the curriculum or the subject or the teaching of agriculture. And that's absolutely not true. The first year in the pilot program at MacArthur High School in Decatur, between MacArthur and Eisenhower High School, so the two public schools in Decatur, we had 202 students right out of the bat. Before these students knew anything about agriculture, we had 200 students sign up for the program. And then in year two, after 1 year of retention, we jumped from 200 to 340. So there is a strong indicator of the interest that we received. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit why I think this was. And here's what I love about agricultural education. It can be customized to meet the needs of different schools and different students. So really, based on what you want out of your agriculture program, students and administrators and teachers can make it what you want it to be. A lot of students we retained simply because they liked the way the course was taught. They appreciated the hands-on approach to business, science, and leadership. And they also really loved the outside of class opportunities that accompany an agriculture program. But then I had some students who were super engaged because they loved the practical application of the sciences. They loved the lab components that we brought into the classroom. Our students in agricultural education are doers. They're constantly engaged. When they show up to class, they know that there's a task or a job to be done. And this just creates a different environment than a traditional classroom where the concept might be to show up, sit down, take notes, not engage, and then leave. Agricultural education really exemplifies a lot of the efforts that are being made across all disciplines which include making student-centered, or making classrooms and instruction more student-centered and student-focused, as well as getting students engaged in active participation or active learning rather than passive, digestion of material. So that was my experience. Some specifics that we did in Decatur that I think can be replicated all over. We got our students directly involved in production agriculture, which seems like almost the counter of what you're hearing from a lot of our panelists today, as far as we're talking about all these non-production careers. But really, our students really appreciated and relished the opportunity to get involved directly in production agriculture. And then it's a lot easier for me as a teacher to show them the careers that stem from that field. So while it may not be like the employment outlook on being a farmer, may not be as positive as all these other careers, there are still so many ways to be engaged in production agriculture to keep that tie back. And there's a lot of, ulterior benefits, employment structures, things that really draw students beyond that focus. I like to sell agricultural education to students on this like short-term, long-term thing, because some students, we have those students that are go-getters and they just are thinking about the long-term. They're already thinking college, career, how can I set myself up for success, whatever that student deems as success. But then we have students that are just there for the short term. They're just thinking, why do I want to spend my time here? And there are benefits both ways. So some of the things I talked about, active hands-on learning, outside of class opportunities, a lot of trips. We love to offer outside of class trips and opportunities for our students. I know that looks a little different now during the pandemic, but traditionally, I think if you talked to a lot of our student alumni, they would tell you that was one of the things that drew them to the program. But then the long-term benefits is that there are many scholarship and technical education opportunities beyond high school that really retain students through this 4-year concept. And let me just reiterate that. The commitment that an agricultural education program brings to your high school is really different than you're going to see across a lot of other vocational education or elective-based courses. It really is designed to where the longer a student is retained in that program and the longer commitment that the school makes to the program, the benefits are just exponentially greater. And it is so innovative. What an agricultural education program can be so custom to your community and to your school. It's unfathomable. So I thought that we were doing pretty creative and innovative things in Decatur at MacArthur High School, but now as the ISB consultant for AFNR, I get to approve and review grants for programs across the state, and the different ways that schools and teachers and administrators are thinking to spend dollars to improve their agricultural education program or address a certain goal of the school district or of the school itself is just insane. I mean, we have students that are building structures at their school, or they're doing community outreach programs, or the different ways that they're incorporating technology in the classroom. It really is encouraging for agricultural education, but it's also encouraging because it provides administrators and education leaders an opportunity to address needs of their school via an agriculture program. And I can tell you right now that there is not a single agriculture classroom across the state that looks the same. And that is because it is customized to your students, it's customized to the needs of the community, and also to the strengths of the teacher that you ultimately will hire. So that's what I think is so awesome. That's why my students at MacArthur, really engage in agricultural education. And that's a model that I think administrators especially should be looking and thinking about is how can I utilize, obviously we are strong believers in agriculture. Each of us have our own personal bias, right? Whether you're a facilitator of agricultural education, or Greg, who's trying to hire different employees at ADM to work in agriculture, or Dean Kidwell, who's trying to get students to that post-secondary education path in agriculture. We have our personal bias, but really what you need to know is that agriculture can serve you as much as it will serve your students. So in thinking about that, obviously we're open to helping you figure out what that might look like in your school. But yeah, I know I've been going on for a while, but anyway, that's me. Thanks, Luke. I appreciate it.
That's perfect. Thank you, Andrew. So it's interesting that you point out that urban students and students who aren't from farms, like you were a rural student that wasn't from a farm and still found an opportunity, and you found your passion through agriculture education. Most students who take agriculture classes at the secondary and middle school level are not from farms, so only 9% of them are. But what those students do find is relevancy, and they find that they can foster their own career preparation through ag education. You mentioned business, science, and leadership. that students are building those soft skills and getting themselves ready for the world of work wherever they exit the educational pipeline. And speaking of business science and leadership, I'd like to introduce our Illinois FFA officer team, who represent the Illinois FFA, the student organization for students enrolled in agricultural education. And excuse me, Emma Coons and Molly Shemp are two of our state officers who will be joining us to present today.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Allen and fellow panelists, thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your meeting today. We'd like to start off by kind of introducing the concept of what we do as state officers. So in Illinois, we have over 34,000 agricultural education students and over 20,000 Illinois FFA members. So as the 5 major state officers, we represent the interests of all of those students, whether that's in a learning aspect or in more a legislative or consumer aspect also. And with that, I would like to ask my teammates if they'd introduce themselves, because we will be here at the end for any questions you may have for any of us in particular.
Thank you, Emma. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Lexi Miller, and I'm currently serving as the Illinois FFA State President this year. I'm originally from the Valmeyer FFA chapter, which in FFA we have different sections, and my section is 22. I live right around St. Louis, and I'll go ahead and throw it over to Margaret.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Margaret Boston, and I am the state reporter this year, and I am from the Amboy FFA chapter up north.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Jordy Oliver. I'm currently serving as the state secretary this year, and I am from the Vine FFA chapter, which is way down south, and we're so happy to be here with you guys today.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Molly Shemp. This year I have the opportunity to serve as the Illinois FFA State Vice President, and I am from the Olympia FFA chapter in Central Illinois.
And everyone, my name is Emma Kuntz, and I'm from the Altamont FFA chapter, which is in South Central Illinois near Effingham. And we all have diverse backgrounds that make our team great. And that just shows, as Luke and Mr. Klein already mentioned, that we do have a diverse student population, and we want your students to be involved with it also. Through agriculture education, students are provided opportunities for leadership development, personal growth, and career success. And that's our FFA mission statement, is that these students develop those 3 components through agriculture education. And we do that through something called a 3-circle model. One of those circles or components is the classroom aspect. So that contextual education purpose that we're all familiar with in different subject areas. But we also have 2 other circle models that me and Molly are going to discuss a little bit further. So the first one of those is the SAE area. The SAE stands for a supervised agricultural experience. And essentially what this is in short terms is a project, an experience, or maybe even a research project that students can take on, develop, plan, and conduct while also keeping records on to further kind of gain lots of skills when they're going through this. So a supervised agricultural experience can range anywhere from an experience like I had personally working on my family's swine farm to undergoing a massive scientific process, such as a girl named Maddie Fugate from the Mahama FFA chapter near Champaign. Maddie Fugate set out to study swine biosecurity at a young age. She was indirectly related to the swine industry and wanted to find some solutions to a common disease that we deal with in the swine industry, PEDV. Maddie developed this project at her freshman year of high school and further developed it all the way to be a senior at Iowa State University. This is just one example of how students are able to develop these beginning SAEs that we experience in the FFA to be immense projects that impact their lives forever on. And Maddie was able to be an American Star, which means that she had the highest award in her SAE area possible. So this was in the agri-science realm, and obviously Maddie did it to an extent that many students would see as long-term and, as Mr. Klein said, those long-term benefits. But SAEs can be short-term also. I had a 1-year SAE where I worked in a camp setting. I was a camp counselor, and I actually had an SAE in the outdoor recreation SAE area. And so I worked at 4-H Memorial Camp in Monticello, Illinois. And there I developed a variety of skills, whether that was understanding childcare, leadership development, really working with other coworkers, and those communication skills that you earn as your first job when you're 16. All of those things came through for me. And then I was able to further develop that experience by recording all those experiences and time that I had put into this experience in my record book, and was able to compete at a section, district, state level with it. We have those different levels so that students are able to compete and to explain and show the work that they have done. So your students and your school districts can have a variety of SAEs, as I've already mentioned, whether that's agri-science, production agriculture, or maybe even something off the cuff, like I mentioned with the camp counselor. But the whole goal of these SAEs is to be able to show students how a work ethic and a time commitment and whatever project in the agriculture sector they are, through that, you can gain so many skills that will be beneficial throughout their life, whether that's those soft skills I talked about with the communication and the leadership and those aspect of things, or that hardcore curriculum, those understanding concepts that can serve like Maddie did in her major at Iowa State. And this SAE area that I talked about is just one component, but really just drives home how much in the agriculture education sector that we want students to be able to do hands-on activities and to love what they're doing while they do it. And with that, I'd like to toss it over to Molly to talk about that other 3-circle model.
Thanks, Emma. So yeah, to echo what Emma has said, FFA members take their skills learned through the organization to better themselves and their communities. So 2 examples of the positive impact FFA has had on communities that I want you to hear today come from the Streeter FFA chapter and Normal FFA chapter. These students saw a need in their community and took the skills that they gained from their FFA chapters to better their communities. So both being named premier chapters from Illinois at this year's National FFA Convention, they truly exemplify this FFA component in the 3-circle model that Emma mentioned earlier. Normal FFA in Central Illinois used the Beauty in Reusing activity to educate FFA members about waste and recycling. So members were geared towards repurposing materials after learning in their agriculture class that each person in the US creates about 3.5 pounds of trash per day. Those FFA members created 32 flower planters made from recycled materials to hand out in celebration of Mother's Day. At Streeter FFA, they began their community project after one of the chapter's alumni had a semi-truck stolen from his farm. Streeter FFA members wanted to correct the damage left from the stolen truck's path, so they developed a project called Becoming Semi-Aware. They taught their students about driver's education and the importance of semi-safety and value in understanding their size and power when operating. So the FFA circle of the 3 circles is the reason we are here as major state officers to serve for a year, because members' education in agriculture is our passion from firsthand experience in our own FFA chapters in agriculture education. We know the rippling positive impact that members can make around them because of the skills that they gain through these programs provided to them. With that, thank you guys so much for your time and sharing in our passion for providing agriculture education to students, knowing that you are providing them with skills to better themselves and their communities. As a future agriculture teacher, I so value your support and you being willing to take time to listen today and make this happen for your students. With that, I will toss it to Mr. Dean Dittmer.
Thank you, Molly. Again, appreciate all of the panelists so far. Do want to drill down a little bit deeper and give everyone the details as far as starting an agriculture, food, and natural resources program. And again, that's part of the Illinois State Board of Education and the FCAE project with the arms and legs out in the field to be able to assist with all of the grant programs, the assistantship, the curriculum, and so on here then as well. So again, we'll go right into it. Luke, if you want to go right to the next slide there. But one of our pieces that you're going to need as far as starting an agricultural education program are lessons and materials, resources for the students and the teachers. So again, since 1990, we have been able to accumulate over 1,000 lesson plans. And what I mean by e-textbooks and so on that as well, instead of providing a textbook like I show here, we have all of the materials and so on online in PDF and PowerPoint, and also activity-based then as well, that teachers and students can access. And again, that has really become more and more important as we have moved from a in-school session to virtual and hybrid and so on then as well. So we have many plans then as well to enhance and revise that curriculum. But just to give you a little bit of an idea, it is aligned to the state standards. It is activity-based. There is an introduction library, plant and animal science as well. Again, we get into the technology of equipment. We get in the technology of technical systems within agricultural mechanics. The equipment dealers and so on across the state have interest in that we are preparing for those jobs as well. Biotechnology, of course, is of interest. Horticulture, natural resources and management, food science and preparation. And again, even advancing that more and more, that we have plans as far as revision for the food and urban environment that we're trying to reach out to here yet as well. So again, that is available. Our field staff then will be able to go over that with each of the principals, superintendents, school staff, teachers then as well. We have workshops, webinars available to train individuals on that site and that information. But again, it is available to each of the school districts free of charge as far as maintaining an ag, food, and natural resources program. Course outlines already developed. So again, working with Andrew Klein at the Illinois State Board of Education, there are a number of courses that are available in 8 different pathways that are available to students across the state and schools that then would be able to receive funding for. So moving right along to the right-hand side, as far as the funding that is available. So we do offer a $10,000 startup grant for schools for equipment and materials and supplies. And that is a 2-year grant, so $5,000 each year. And then there is a maintenance grant then after that as far as maintenance and stability for the program. And that runs about $2,500 per year per school. Another enhancement then as well as far as for school districts is our new teacher contract extension. So again, looking at that, the first 2 years of a new program could bring in approximately $15,000 to the agriculture and food natural resources teacher. And that would go for time beyond the school day, before the school day, after the school day, on weekends, and over the summer. Then as far as working with agribusiness and industry, working with students on leadership events as well. But again, that would be paid 100% for the first 2 years, 80% the next 2 years, which would be approximately $12,000 per school per teacher. And then the 4th year that would run to 50%, which then would be a matching grant by the school district then as well. So along with those two, then of course, as the state officers mentioned, we do have organizations as far as the FFA, and then also Manners. And again, you can see there as far as their logo there, as well as far as minorities in agriculture, natural resources, and related sciences, teaming up again to start and establish that leadership organization, that will take those students from the classroom into jobs and careers, and then also into post-secondary then as well, as far as working with the community colleges that we have across the state. And those are approximately 26 of those then across the state for all type of jobs, whether it's a 1-year certificate program, 4-year degree program, and so on then as well. So again, we will be able to provide more information on that. So I'm going to go right to Luke, and he's going to kind of tell us a little bit more as far as how we're regionally established, and then staff across the state to help you make sure that this will all happen within your school district.
Yeah, through the line item for agricultural education in the state budget, one of the things that make ag education unique is the fact that we have modeled our support network on industry by having regional field staff to support school programs. We're one of the few programs in education who has someone who can show up at your school and help an administrator accomplish a task. So you, depending on where you are in the state, you have one of 5 field program advisors. And you can see the map and contact information. There's a link in the agenda to our contact information, and that will be shared at the end. But John Heiser works in Northwest Illinois in the red territory. I'm Luke Allen. I work in the northeast part of the state in green. Jennifer Waters is the blue area. Megan Coy is purple, and Casey Boland is the orange area of Southern Illinois. So our job is to be the person that you call on, school administrators, teachers, guidance counselors. We will help a school develop the curriculum that fits what your community needs and what your school's goals are. And then we can help you out as well with information about the scholarships that we offer for students to study agriculture classes online. For instance, if your school district has 2 or 3 students interested in, and they're not ready to hire a teacher yet, they can take courses through the Illinois Virtual School. And they can, right now, those scholarships are available for students to take Introduction to Agriculture or Agri-Science or Veterinary Science. And we have schools all over the state who are taking us up on those offers. So we are happy to provide that assistance. Whatever you need help with, we're available. So the steps that it would take to start a program, we've talked about that 3-circle model of the classroom, the work-based learning, and the leadership component. The FFA's mission is to develop premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. And the FFA is different than something like a Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts because it is intracurricular. It requires a licensed agriculture teacher and an approved sequence of courses. So it is intracurricular, like band at a school. You can't have a band participating in the IMEA without having it be affiliated with your local school. So to have an agriculture education program with an FFA chapter and the grant resources, you need a licensed agriculture teacher, you need an approved sequence of courses, and you would establish your FFA and or your Manners chapter. Manners stands for Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Related Sciences. You would have students have the opportunity to participate in work-based learning, or that we call supervised agricultural experience. So your FK advisor would be the person that begins that process with you. We would help you develop your local advisory committee. We would then partner with your EFE, your local system director, to make sure that we meet all the requirements of CTE reimbursement. We would assist you in finding a licensed teacher. And we would assist you through the grant application process and chapter FFA chartering. So it's nice to know that you have some field support to help you through those steps. And as Andrew mentioned earlier, each program is unique and different to its community. Unlike something like freshman English, which is generally the same in every school, no matter where you go, no matter what you teach, it's pretty similar across the state. Ag education courses are unique to your community. And so my job is to help you through that process. Well, we told you at the end we would leave time for questions, and this is a great time to address some of those questions. I know that I think Jennifer and Megan have been helping us out with keeping an eye on those, because on my host screen I have like 18 things showing, and it's hard to see the chat at the same time. So have we had any questions come in, or does anybody from the audience have questions? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Luke, one of the questions came in was asking a little bit more specifically about what are the careers. We talked about there being so many different career options, wanting a little bit more specifics on what are those career options.
Greg, you're an employer. Would you like to start us out there?
Sure. So the way I think about our career opportunities range from those who could seek jobs right from a graduation of high school all the way up to a PhD. So kind of just characterizing those some, we have significant needs for plant operations, for instance. So these would be individuals who may have a skill in being a millwright or an electrician, or could be something in data analytics, because we've had some training in even our high school, and progressing that through young people who may have either had a 2 or a 4-year program where we need folks who are involved in the markets in terms of marketing, or are what we call merchandisers who do business with either our farmer suppliers or our food, feed, or fuel customers. We've got lots of jobs in accounting, lots of jobs in legal, lots of jobs in environmental sciences. So there is a plethora, frankly, in a wide-ranging scope. If you have kind of an interest in most things, it has a connection to agriculture, but that's not our usual way of thinking about that. So I think giving visibility to agriculture through high school education in an ag education environment helps us look through that in a lens that has a focus on agriculture that today we don't. So as you're contemplating what those job opportunities are and where we're chronically short and why we're chronically short, a lot of it is just because young people, or people by more broadly, just don't think there's a role for them in agriculture, when that's just far from the truth.
Kind of a follow-up to that question was, is industry willing to help market the future jobs? And that was actually specifically to you, Mr. Webb. And then it says that is helping students to get interested in these careers by the prospect of having a future job. And maybe, Greg, you've served on advisory in your local indicators program. So maybe you can talk about how to connect industry to programs to help with marketing as is being asked.
Yeah, thank you for that question. You know, there's a lot of programs that I think have great utility in terms of giving a young person an experience. So I think about co-op programs that exist where young people can get a few hours a week being in that business, playing a role in that business. In our university trained students, we also offer we have a very large internship program where again, young people get a feature and an exposure and an immersion, frankly, for that entire summer while they're in between school, to get an exposure to what that might feel like, what that job might, and a bigger visibility for the company. I think also something that we're really focusing on is that the need for our industry to have much more diversity and inclusion is a high priority for us. And so finding and attracting young people in urban settings is something that not only our company ADM is doing, but the whole industry is pursuing. So the opportunities for young people are substantial. And I think, as Dean Kidwell amplified very, very well, I think the pandemic has also brought kind of this connection to ourselves in a way that we're not so busy, in ways that we kind of think about our being more. And so I really expect that this is an opportunity for us to seize, so that we tap into that curiosity that has developed about where food comes from and how could I play a role in that.
You know, if you'll allow me, I'd like to expand on that a little bit. I think the hands-on learning is so critical. And, you know, urban agriculture is really lit up in lots of ways, like local food, entrepreneurialism with starting small farms, things like that. In the Chicago area, we're actually working with Discovery Partners Institute to embed students in industry-based experience as part of their learning opportunities. So online learning has become a new way of being. You know, actually, we're getting good at it, right? So the thing about that works is students can take classes and have immersion-based learning experiences at the same time. So students in MetroFest, our Metropolitan Food Environmental Systems major, will spend a year in the Chicago actually embedded with a company on a paid internship. Because we also realize that, you know, a lot of students really need some supplemental income to help make this work. We also want people to get out in 4 years so they can enter the workforce in a timely manner. But I think some of the things that we're doing in the urban settings, as far as youth development, entrepreneurialism, innovation goes, are really, really cool. Because, you know, some people say, I don't want to work on a farm, so I'm not going to get a major in an ag degree. Well, frankly, a whole lot of us don't work in a rural community, and you can if you want to, right? Like, that's kind of the beauty of the whole thing. You can work anywhere you want. But we work with Caterpillar, John Deere, all kinds of big companies up in the Chicago area that have offices there. You know, our students end up working in banks, they work in the lending industry, they work in the economic industry. We have a lot of people that actually end up going to DC to intern because they want to get involved in policy work, right? You can go anywhere from here. You just need to get inspired about what you want to do, and the portal will open for you. But I think those industry links are a big deal. I keep telling people in industry, the best recruiters are you. Tell people why you love what you do and how you got there, so they get curious about how to make that happen too.
Another question came in, is there an existing central resource where students can find the multitude of internship, externship, apprentices, or summer academy opportunities at food and ag companies and community colleges and universities across the state?
You know, if you get on our website and you go to the academic program arena, you will find postings around internships and job training opportunities. That's true any university that I'm aware of in the state. You know, and there are 4 ag programs in the state. All of them are good. We're all just a little bit different, right? So, you know, the community colleges are spectacular. So do a little Google search and you'll find these opportunities listed on most of the websites of the higher education training institutes.
Yeah, also Andrew points out that agcareers.com and our website also has a lot of opportunities for students to begin to do the career exploration as well. So I appreciate everybody's thoughts and inputs. I think we've got all the questions answered. And I haven't seen any more. So I thank you all for your time today. I thank you to the participants who joined us today to learn more about the opportunities through agriculture, food and natural resources education. And we will be following up with an email to all of the people who joined us to participate and learn today. This video will be has been recorded and will be shared to be a resource if you would like to share that out. And remember that there are 5 field staff plus any of the presenters today would be more than happy to communicate and answer questions that you may have, to visit you at your school and find ways that we can tailor something that will help you address your needs in your community. Every community has different needs, every school has different needs. So we will work to make sure that you have something that your students can find opportunities for themselves through agriculture education. Thank you all for joining us today.
Well, Luke, one thing, Representative Harper, again, we applaud your efforts for helping us, helping us across the state of Illinois, especially, again, growing programs in our urban parts of the state, and would allow you to have some closing comments here then as well. Greg Webb, also at Archer Daniel Midlands, you both have been very instrumental in helping us to come together and partner together in hopes that we can take agri-science education, food education to more students across the state.
Sure. This has been a wonderful workshop. I want to again thank you for everyone that was involved. It actually reminded me, you know, sometimes when I'm down in Springfield and I come in contact with the FFA students, I'm just so inspired. And I always tell them, you know, growing up in Chicago, I wish that I would have attended a school with an agriculture program. I guess that's why I'm so attached to the field now and I'm so in love with it. But I do want all of our students in the state of Illinois to be able to witness and to feel just the love and the support and all of the great things that come from participating in ag education and all of the wonderful different careers that stem from the field. So again, thank you so much for putting this on the front of our minds today, and let's continue to promote this effort and continue to spread these opportunities and make them more aware and more available to our teachers and our students. So again, thank you to everyone. This was a wonderful event.
Thank you, Representative Harper. Mr. Webb, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I applaud Representative Harper for her interest in this, and I think she encaptures the interests. You don't have to have grown up in a rural or even a farm situation to have a curiosity about agriculture, and so I so admire her interest in this and for fostering this opportunity for us to be with all of you today. We have just a tremendous opportunity that lies ahead of us, and it will only be for those who seize it. So I really encourage those of us in the state of Illinois who are blessed already with natural resources to amplify and leverage our opportunities in this growing industry. So thank you very much all for your time here today.
All right, with that, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. And I hope you have a lovely day and a great weekend.
So long.